I understand you work with like other speechwriters on the team, but how exactly is the work distributed? Do you all work on like one speech together, or is it like everybody has their own speech to work on?
Yes and yes. So the way it works is you get assigned a speech, or we look at the schedule, we see what's coming up. And if there's something you're really excited about, you really want to work on, you can put your hand up and say, I'd like to try, I'd like to be the speechwriter for that. Or if it's something nobody wanted to do, everyone would look down at the floor, look down at their shoes until someone would have to get picked to do it. But you're the lead. Can you imagine? I'm sure you've done this, right? You've had to write essays for school. It's hard to write. It's hard to write an essay. It can be even harder if imagine two or three of you trying to write one essay together. I mean, how do you do that? One person, you can't have one person write the beginning, one person write the middle, one person write the end. It's not going to sound right. And how do you write the middle if you don't know what's been said in the beginning? So it would be really hard we didn't break speeches up, but so we had one person in charge of the research and the writing and the drafting. But then once that one person did it, they would, circulate it and share it with the rest of our team. And we would get a chance to offer edits. It would be up to the person whether or not to make the edits. But again, even that's one person trying to decide. So yeah, there's a phrase you hear a lot in the business world and government world of writing by committee, where you have lots of people trying to write one thing, or they put something in a Google Doc and everyone's editing it. I mean, those don't usually turn out so well. You hear like dozens of different voices, dozens of different brains working on one thing. You have to have one person in charge. You have to have one person making sure that it's consistent and coherent, and that the beginning makes sense with the end and they don't contradict each other. So, but yeah, it's sort of, and then in your response, at least the way we did it, we were responsible for it all the way to the very end. If people sent edits, we'd have to make the edits. If people sent fact checks and we got something wrong, it was our responsibility to fix it and make it right. And then one of the last steps of the whole process, after the president was done with it, it was time for the speech to be finalized. And maybe it needed to be printed out and put in a binder so the president could have it on the podium, or maybe it was going to go in the teleprompter, right? You've all seen those pieces of glass sometimes and to us in the audience, they just look like two pieces of glass. But to the president, the words of the speech are moving up the glass so that the president can read it and look out at the audience. We were responsible for making sure that the speech got to the teleprompter. So yeah, one person in charge from beginning to end. And in fact, our name would be on the speech, so that if the president had a problem with it, he knew who to call.
So did your team write politically geared speeches as well, or just speeches like at events or such like that?
Yeah, so there's actually rules in government as to who can do political work and who can't. And so because the idea is we don't want a president ever to use all the resources of the government, the people, the money to try to serve their own narrow political interests. So there are rules in place, and I was actually one of the people who was prohibited from doing political work. I was not allowed to, if the president was going to go out and give a political rally or a political speech, I wasn't allowed to work on that. I had one of our colleagues was allowed to do that. So yeah, because I worked in the space around national security, foreign affairs, I was legally, it was against the law for me to be doing explicit what we call partisan work. So President Obama is a Democrat. So if in the speech he was going to go out there and say, we Democrats need to do X, Y, and Z, I couldn't work on a speech like that. So yeah, it's a very clear division of labor. There's rules and laws in place, and you can get in trouble if you violate them.
Have you ever had a client who you feel didn't quite do justice to the speech you wrote?
Oh yeah, lots of times. I mean, when you write something, you're sort of hearing it in your head. You're kind of hearing the voice of how you think it should be, how you think it should come out. And sometimes, with President Obama, you almost always do it. I mean, he sort of take it to the next level, even better than what you thought in your head. But yeah, sometimes I've had clients where they just, they haven't put in the work. It's not that they're not great speakers, it's that they haven't put in the work yet. They haven't really been at it for years, and they haven't practiced a lot. And so maybe the line doesn't kind of, it's supposed to be a big, powerful, exciting line that's delivered with emphasis, and it just kind of falls out of their mouth, or they garble a line, or they mispronounce something. Or they just, it just doesn't come out. And, usually if that's an opportunity to keep getting better, to keep practicing. Again, people say, oh, Barack Obama's a naturally gifted speaker. No, he's actually not. I don't think he worked really hard at it to get better same way when you go to a concert, do you think, you think Taylor Swift naturally gifted? Maybe not, but she sure has worked really hard at it for many, many years. Someone who knows how to play an instrument really well. They didn't just pick up the instrument when they were 4 and start playing it. They had to practice and train and learn and get better and put in tons of work. A great athlete, same thing, right? They just didn't, jump out there and start winning medals. They trained for years. So you got to put in the work. And it's the same with public speaking. So when someone doesn't, if they want to keep giving more speeches, and they're not so great, that means we've got to train more. Like running a race, right? You want to go faster, train harder. You want to speak better, train harder.